Future Dana here. We're trying to reach 10,000 subscribers, and you can help us out by sharing the channel and clicking the subscribe button. And when we reach 10,000, we're going to do a giveaway. So if you want to know what that's about, help us out. Hi, Dana here. Welcome to Sew Learn Create. I'm glad you joined us today. And if you like what you see on our channel, be sure you click that subscribe button and the bell notification. We also have a Patreon page where you can support us in that way with multiple tiers. And on my Etsy shop, I have sewing kits for most of the tutorials that we have here on the channel. But today's project is a scrap buster project. And if you're like me, you sew a lot, you have a lot of scraps. And this one uses a clear Christmas ornament. So let's get started. For today's project, the Scrap Buster Clear Ornament, you're going to need the following supplies. You're going to need a variety of Christmas fabrics, and I've chosen to use red and green, but you could do all one color like all red or all green in your ornament. And you're going to need to cut them into strips that are about 1/2 inch wide. And I'm using some of the fabrics I'm using the drop-offs of quilts that I've made, because you want the longer strips. So your fabric needs to be at least 6 inches long or more. If it's shorter than 6 inches, you could use that, but I don't know that it would stay in the ornament and be fill up the volume. I think it would have a tendency to settle if it's shorter than that. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your strips or your fabric and you're going to cut it into about 1/2 inch wide strips. So I've folded mine over 4 times and I'm just going to cut it. This does not have to be accurate all the way down, so if it's skinnier at one end or the other, don't worry about that. You will need a good sharp pair of scissors to do this. So I'm just going to cut this. And like this one, I'm going to go ahead and cut in half because I think this is too wide. So these will be a little bit skinnier. So then you wind up with these strips that are about 1/2 inch wide and long. Now let me talk a little bit about your fabrics. I've chosen a variety of red and green Christmas, and I wanted my greens and my reds to kind of coordinate together. You would not want to introduce fabrics that didn't coordinate or look good together, because when you put them in your ornament, they're all going to show. So be sure you lay out all your fabrics and make just like you would do if you were doing another project, and make sure you like the look of all your fabrics together. So I'm going to finish cutting these off camera, and then we'll come back and I'll show you how to put it together. Now I've cut all my strips, and I've made a pile of red and a pile of green because I'm using the 2 different color waves. So the ornaments that I'm using are plastic, and I got them at the thrift store in a big bag, and I think I paid $2 for like 20 of them. And now is the time of year when everybody puts these ornaments on sale, so if you wanted to do a bunch of them, you could buy a 6-pack, but if you just wanted to do a single, you could get those like at Dollar Tree, and they do sell the single plastic ornaments. And mine have kind of a embossed design on the outside, but then I also have one that's clear, and any of those will work. And this one is kind of a fun shape. You just want them to be clear so you can see through them. That's your main thing there. So first thing you're going to do is carefully pull off the top cap and set that aside. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our fabric strips, and the longer they are, don't cut them into shorter pieces, leave them really long. And I'm just going to feed those into my ornament one at a time. And you kind of want to just make them just kind of push down in there. Now because I'm using 2 different colors, the next one I'm going to put a green one in. And again, I'm just going to kind of push it down in there. And see, now they begin to just kind of fill up my ornament. And you will see the back side of the fabric and the front side, but that gives you a fun, different look. This one is a little shorter, So I'm going to put it kind of right on top of my green here. And then let's do another green one. I like this one. This one's really long. Oops. Just going to poke it down in there. And then I'm going to shake it a little bit, just to kind of mix it up. Let's do, I like this fun stripe. This one's a little bit shorter, so I might do 2 of those instead of the 1. Just put those down in there. I like that look. And then let's take, I like this Santa one. Let's put this one in. Then when you get the desired fullness that you like, I'm going to do a couple more. I'm going to do this poinsettia red. I think it's pretty. Because it's short, I am going to do 2. And you can take your chopstick and kind of move things around in there if you wanted to, or poke it down so it can put more in. And last one I'm going to do, I think, is going to be this bright green. It's really long. Take my chopstick and just poke that top little piece in there. And let's do one more red here. All right, and I think that looks good to me. I can see all my different colors. Gonna take and see if I can kind of turn that, but I don't really think I can, so I'm not going to worry about it. And as you can see, the fabrics that I started with, I've done an ornament and it's really full, and I have all of this left over. So your fabrics, you don't need a ton, you just need kind of a variety. So I'm going to put those out of the way. Then I'm going to take my cap and I'm going to put it back on carefully. This is the kind of tricky part because this metal top will tend to bend on you if you're not careful. See if I can get my chopstick to kind of help there. And you just want to put your top back on. And then I think I'm going to take and make a bow for mine, and I'm just going to hot glue that bow on there. And I kind of like this red check ribbon. So I'm going to make a bow. And I think I want my tails kind of long. I'm going to fold mine, and I always have to think about this. You want your points out at the outside edge. So if you fold it in half and just cut a angled line, and that gives you, and that makes those points even. So I'm going to cut my ribbon off about the same length on this side and do the same thing. You fold it in half, and you want to come from your outside edges up, and that gives you your points. And then I'm just going to take that bow and I'm going to hot glue it to my ornament right here at the top. So now our scrap busting ornament is complete. Our project is done the way that I wanted to make mine, but here's some other thoughts that I had that you might want to incorporate in yours. I have these, I got them again at the thrift store, these just like gold foil kind of confetti scatter pieces. So if you wanted to put some of those in there, eventually they would probably settle in the bottom, and I would add them after I did all my fabrics, so they're less likely to settle at the bottom, but those would be a fun addition. Also, I have some fabrics that have kind of a metallic to them. So if you wanted, like this has a little bit of a gold shimmer, same with this one. If you wanted to use those type of fabrics in the clear ornaments, I think it would give you a different look. And then also if you wanted to go with kind of a blue wintry theme, then those are just some options that I thought about that might work for this ornament. I hope you liked today's project, the Scrap Buster Clear Ornament. So, see you in the next one.